Dear students, today we would study a more detailed introduction of biophysics. In this chapter, we would study about plasma membrane, its structure and function, and we would look at how biophysics help us to study its structure and how the structure helps in the proper functioning of plasma membrane. Plasma membrane. As you all know that it is a biological membrane and it is highly organized and isotropic structure. Fluid mosaic model is the model that explains the structure of plasma membrane, and it describes that plasma membrane is a mixture and mosaic of different components including phospholipids, cholesterol, protein and carbohydrates that give the membrane a fluid character. So it does not appear as a solid substance, but it is more like a fluid. So physical properties of the membrane are very important in much wider context. For example, in the process of signaling, transport, vesiculation, adhesion, migration, mitosis, and apoptosis. These all are the functions that a plasma membrane performs. So, what are the physical properties that are allowing this plasma membrane to carry out these functions? If we look into the fluid mosaic model, you would see a number of glycoproteins, globular proteins, integral proteins, surface proteins, alpha helical proteins, lipids. They all are combining to form a mosaic-like structures. And we know that phospholipids are present forming a lipid bilayer in which they are having hydrophilic heads and hydrophobic tails, and it forms a very complex fluid-like structure, and it allows the plasma membrane to act as selectively permeable membrane. What does selectively permeable means? Selectively permeable membrane means it allows some specific substance to cross through and enter into the cell and does not allow all the substances to pass through this membrane. Membrane biophysics is a branch of biophysics that allows us to study the physical principle governing biological membranes, including lipid raft formation, protein lipid coupling, as well as their mechanical characteristics and the effect they have on paracellular transport and phenomena relating to cell shape. So, membrane biophysics is the study of biological membrane structure and function using physical, computational, mathematical, and biophysical methods. And a combination of these methods can be used to create phase diagrams of different types of membranes, which yields information on thermodynamic behavior of a membrane and its various components. So what sort of problems can be solved? That how brain processes and stores information, how the heart is pumping blood, what mechanisms are involved in it, how the muscles are contracting. We easily say that we have biceps and triceps, they contract and relax, but what is the mechanism behind it? How the plants are using sunlight for growth in photosynthesis, how genes are switched on and off, how do proteins get folded, how three-dimensional structure determines the function of a protein, why do molecules and part of molecule assume the shapes they do, how do they fold into these shapes, and how do they change their structure under changing conditions. These all questions would be answered by the biophysics. As we have already studied that biophysics discovers how atoms are arranged to work in DNA and proteins, because proteins molecule perform many chemical reactions in human body. They push and pull in the muscles that move your limbs. Protein makes the part of our eyes, ears, nose and skin that sense our environment. They turn food into energy and light into vision. Basically, they are providing immunity to our illnesses. Proteins repair what is broken inside the cells and they regulate growth. They fire the electrical signals in your brain. They read the DNA blueprints in your body and copy the DNA for future generation. These all are the tasks performed by the proteins. So, biophysicists are discovering how proteins work. The mysteries are being solved part by part. To learn how a car works, you first need to know how the parts fit together. If you want to study the working of a car, you must know all the parts of the car, that how they are arranged and how they are working with each other. So if you want to study how proteins are working, you must know their structure and how they are arranged and how they are functioning. Now, thanks to biophysics, we know exactly where the thousands of atoms are located in more than 50,000 different proteins. Each year, over 1 million scientists and students from all over the world, from physicists to medical practitioners, use these protein structure for discovering how biological machines work in health and also in disease state. If you want to measure the shape of a molecule or find out the functioning of molecule, the first step is structure. You must get a snap of that structure. So X-ray crystallography, nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy, and scanning probe microscopy, recombinant DNA technology, and computational biology are providing you access to study the structure of these molecules. Thank you. In next lesson, we would study about history of biophysics and somewhat importance of biophysics.